Welcome everyone to this episode of Viruk and Jeb Have Fun with Rockets, and today we are going to suspend belief just for a moment and imagine that Jeb was not a badass pilot and had a habit of forgetting to deploy his parachutes. That's where a smart part comes in, and in particular the Alt Pro altimeter and action group trigger. This device will fire an event or action group if the vessel reaches a specified height. So let's pick that and attach it anywhere on our vessel that will still be here when we return, unlike the Drain X1 that has to be attached to the fuel tank it's measuring. Right click the part to bring up its menu, and it's here we can choose which action group we would like the Alt Pro to trigger. So let's imagine we were going to trigger action group 5. Next we can set the altitude that we would like it to trigger. You can either do it in meters, or you can use this button down here to change it into kilometers. So let's imagine we are going to trigger this at 4 kilometers. We can set whether the device is active by default, which in this case it is, but you might want to enable it as part of a chain of smart parts to create a simple program. But in this case, we'll specify that it's active. You can specify whether it should trigger on ascent, descent, or both, but obviously in the case of parachutes we want it to trigger on descent. We don't want it to auto reset, but this might be useful, for example, to deploy landing gear as part of a landing craft, but we'll leave it as false for the moment because it doesn't make much sense for parachutes. Next you can set whether the altitude should be at ground or terrain level, and the default for that is true, but if we want sea level, then just choose whether you want it to be active or false. In this case, we want it to be active for ground level. Of course, nothing's going to happen with Action Group 5 unless we actually choose to set it. So go to Action Groups, pick the device that you want to trigger, choose your action group, and in this case we want Action Group 5 to deploy our parachutes. So let's go and test this imaginary Jeb. Well, here we can see our imaginary Jeb returning from his long and arduous journey into space. But as we were explaining earlier, he has forgotten all about that crucial safety element known as parachutes. Fortunately, we've attached the Alt Pro. And there go Jeb's parachutes. He will be returning safe and sound. Excellent smart part, simple and effective. So with that said, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.